You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for The Tragedy of Macbeth. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. The Tragedy of Macbeth is a 2021 period drama written and directed by Joel Cohen, starring Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. The film is an adaptation of the famed Shakespearean play that follows power-hungry Macbeth as he sets his sights on the Scottish throne after receiving a prophecy from three mysterious witches. Now, the trailers for this film looked very intriguing, shot in black and white from one of the pair of Coen brothers, and starring powerhouses Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand. Yeah, I was pretty excited for the film. Not to mention, I am a bit of a sucker for well-executed Shakespearean adaptations. Really, any old type of adaptations, a la The Green Knight, not Shakespearean. However, these period piece adaptations, there's just something about them. When they're executed well, I generally really enjoy them. And The Tragedy of Macbeth is just that, a very well executed Shakespearean adaptation. So let's go ahead and talk about those positives first. I want to begin with our performances because a lot of this film really hinges on those being great. And Denzel Washington as Macbeth himself is amazing. What a performance. Denzel really takes us through the gambit of all the different facets of acting here. We have really subtle, toned down acting to huge, big, expressive. We have action, we have drama. It is all there for Denzel Washington, and he is gripping. At his age, Denzel is also still super intimidating. I'm just like, I would not want to be the one to get on that man's bad side. But wow, he's stellar. And then we get Frances McDormand, who delivers maybe my favorite performance of hers over recent years. This feels like a true departure of the character she has been a bit pigeonholed into in this later stage of her career. If she were to win another Oscar, it would feel more earned for me here than it did Nomadland, personally. But it's nice to see her be more vulnerable, give us more in terms of emotion and range in one of these performances. She already has that commanding presence just inherently, and she's fantastic here as well. Most all of our side characters are very good as well, but I need to highlight Catherine Hunter, who is amazing in a very small role, but oh my gosh, what a physical performance, and just what an insanely good supporting role. I thought she was fantastic in this film. I also found the script to be fantastic. It is not just a straight up and down type of adaptation of the classic Macbeth story. It is a true adaptation of what is left to the page, but I really enjoyed this setup. I thought the conversations were riveting, even in that old Shakespearean tongue. The setup and the way that it was all pieced together as a cohesive story was really well executed. It was a great adaptation. And the direction is beautiful. The black and white cinematography works really well. And interestingly enough, in comparison to a lot of the other black and white photography we've seen recently, it is naturally lit. You can very much tell that this is natural lighting as we work throughout, and the exposure is highly contrasted as we work throughout this area, and it works beautifully for the story being told. There's some stunning imagery in the film, and the symbolism brought to life in the direction is also stunning. And when we reach the fever pitch of that third act, you're truly riveted. Honestly, how the film ends, I thought was masterwork. And the score was really good too. It just was underutilized. The film really likes to fill the air with dialogue and silence. There's not a whole lot in terms of score, but when we get it, particularly there at the end, it's beautiful. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to the tragedy of Macbeth? In honesty, my only real negatives come in the form of just real nitpicky things on technical aspects. First of all, I watched this at the Shakespeare at the Cinema IMAX event. My recommendation is that you don't need to watch this in IMAX. You can watch it in a regular sized format theater if it does show near you, or I honestly think this is perfectly fine to watch on Apple Plus if you have Apple TV Plus. It's not made for the IMAX ratio, so I'm actually not quite sure why they made it. It's in a 1.33-to-1 ratio, which is a box in the middle of an IMAX screen. So it was a very strange choice to me. I guess you need it in IMAX because that box is going to look extra small in a normal size theater or on your television screen. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't need IMAX so you can actually get a picture. But you know me, I'm not a fan of these more squared out aspect ratios by and large. It worked okay. It just was a bit distracting on that huge IMAX screen. And then the editing. Some of the editing choices are really cool, and then other editing choices are very jarring, and in ways that don't necessarily feel intentional to the story. So for me, the editing was very hit or miss as we worked throughout the film. But overall, I thought the tragedy of Macbeth was pretty fantastic. As I said, when you give me a well-executed Shakespearean adaptation, I'm a sucker. I get sucked in and I have a great time with it. And this film was certainly no exception. I will caution that I'm not sure it's going to be accessible outside of fans of Shakespeare work. It's spoken in that old English tongue, and at times can be just a bit hard to follow if you're not really acutely tuned in. But if you are, the script will reward. So my recommendation is if you are into Shakespearean period pieces, definitely check out The Tragedy of Macbeth when it releases to theaters over the Christmas holiday and on Apple TV Plus subsequently. If you're not, if Shakespeare bores you, I am certain this film will also bore you, and you can probably just skip over it. We've had 1,000,001 Macbeth stories told, and you know where it's going. So I don't know that you necessarily need to sit through another one if it's not your jam. So that is my review for The Tragedy of Macbeth. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see The Tragedy of Macbeth? And what is your favorite Shakespearean film adaptation? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.